Hey everybody, my name is Jessie. I'm going to give my report today on The Matrix. For anybody who's not in my class, this is a drama class. It's Drama 70 that I'm taking at my local college. That's LMC, Las Madonna College. I should remember that. So anyways, I'm choosing The Matrix for this, and I'm going to be focusing on the cinematography. The Matrix is a theatrical blockbuster at the time of its release in 1999. The Matrix proved to be a mind-blowing advancement in cinematic visual effects, definitely. And that's pretty much the reason why I chose it. Unfortunately, I wasn't a huge fan of the storyline, but the effects blew me away. So, as I said before, I am choosing the topic of cinematography. And according to the dictionary, dictionary.com, the definition of cinematography is the art or technique of motion picture photography. So in this film, it is definitely art, I can tell you. I chose this area to analyze, like I said before, because I was blown away by the techniques and ingenuity that was used to form the cinematography of this film. So in my presentation today, I want to discuss the cinematography, specifically the things that influence the cinematography, and also the I want to say advancements, but the groundbreaking original ideas that were used in The Matrix that were born from The Matrix, I guess you could say. So with that being said, I'm also going to end with a brief overview. And okay, so let's get started. The cinematography of this film is definitely unique. It consists of many things that have been done before and many that have never been attempted. So something to know, the Wachowski brothers, Larry and Andy, are the writers and directors of the film Matrix. Many of the scenes in this film had angles and positions of the cameras that were heavily influenced by Japanese filmmaking and anime cartoons. Many people have made attempts in correlating which anime cartoons were those that influenced the Matrix, and the list is extensive, like huge. I found like a lot of boards on the internet that were like a lot of people posting things like, oh, I think it was this, I think it was this, and I think it was da. But the main things that I was able to like correlate it down, I don't have anything from like credible sources, like the Wachowski brothers never mentioned which ones, but according to some of these people, a few that were mentioned over and over was the Ghost in the Shell and Megazone 23. So those were repeated a few times, but of course there were like multiple others. One person by the name of Megazone, the online name, they had an online name of Megazone on one of these boards, said, and I have to agree with them, that having seen interviews with the brothers, the real answer is no one film. The brothers like anime. They've seen a fair amount, and it was an overall view. So I agree with that. I think that the brothers saw so many different animes that they just kind of got used to the style of it and made sure to input a lot of that into the film. I know you're thinking they're just the directors and not the cinematographers, but they were in fact they knew exactly what they wanted, and so all the people were going with what they said pretty much. The actors all said that the brothers knew exactly what they wanted, exactly what kind of kicks they wanted. In the fighting scenes, they knew exactly where they wanted the camera for it, so in a sense they were kind of the cinematographers as well. So, continuing on. Another thing that was influenced in the film was a lot of, from the Asian filmmaking, was wire work. So they used that a lot. They used the wires for jumping and for fighting scenes, and it gave the actors kind of like an added grace and it made them look like they had superhuman abilities. So wires were used a lot in the making of this film, definitely. Almost any time that someone jumped or fought, they had a wire on them. But regardless of what the Wachowski brothers watched that influenced their choices, they also had some very original ideas. One of their ideas was bullet time. I'm sure you've heard of it. They actually patented this, which I thought was kind of cool. John Getty, the visual effects supervisor, explained what bullet time is on a video on YouTube that I watched called The Making of Matrix, What is Bullet Time? So I'm going to use a kind of long quote on what he said about this, and then just kind of break it down and explain it. while I'm going along. So what he said was, bullet time is a stylistic way of showing you're in a constructed reality, that time and space are not the same as it is today. It's slowing down the time to such an extent so that you can clearly see everything around you. Bullet time is something conceived specifically for the Matrix. But, he says, I think it's a byproduct of the directors observing the controls coming into place, and then they ask the right question and at the right time. So basically, it's bullet time is slowing down, is what they came up with for a time in space and time, in between space and time. Think of like the Twilight Zone, where you're able to slow down time and see clearly what's going on around you. He goes on to say, Mr. John Gaeta goes on to say, you always know that you're doing something that is groundbreaking if someone asks something that you go, oh, maybe if we do some development and get the right minds working on it, and it'll take some pretty heavy thinking to get it together. So he's saying that you know something is groundbreaking and something is new and fresh, and it's going to be difficult. Like, it's going to take a lot of thinking, it's going to take a lot of work, and it definitely did. But they were able to do it, which was like so cool. This particular thing has never happened before. So the way that they go about doing this, getting this shot, one of the instances was when Trinity did that jump kick thing. So she like jumped up, the camera swung around, and then she kicked the officer, right? Another would be when Neo and I can't believe I forgot the guy's name. The bad guy, pretty much, sunglasses, the Elven King from another movie, that guy. When they're like fighting and they grab onto each other like in the train station and they're spinning around shooting at each other. The camera's going all over the place and it's catching like the slow motion of it and there's bullets whizzing by. So those two are instances of this. And the way that they do this is that everything begins with a simulation. So first of all, they plot it out on the computer. They make sure they know exactly where they want the camera to go. Then they have to figure out how high the cameras have to be. So all the computer simulation is the basis of timing sequence, and that way they know when which camera is going to fire off a picture. Each camera has a specific movement and a time to fire a frame of film. All that is taking into account the net effect for the total effect of the move, that is the camera coming up to speed, moving at a speed, and coming off of a speed. So what they have is they get this huge rig. I'll show you some pictures here in a second. They get this huge rig full of green screen everywhere so that way they can add in the background later. They get the guys on wires, or the women, and then they have them do their action, and while they're doing it, they get the cameras and they set them off. This one takes a picture, the next one takes a picture, all at a certain point of time, like milliseconds to longer, depending on what you want. But it goes all the way around and takes it, and then putting those pictures and videos, some of them are video cameras, putting all of that together creates that effect that you see. So yeah, basically that was what I had to share with you guys. We covered the cinematography of Matrix by looking at the influences what influenced the cinematography of the film, and also the original ideas and things that were made. I mean, so cool. Bullet time. That was basically why I chose this, was because it was like, whoa, so clever, so cool. So yeah, that's it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. I'll put that link up there for you. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.